On the icy morning of February 17th, the tranquility of Waterbury's Blake Street was shattered by the cacophony of sirens and the acrid scent of smoke. The house, an unassuming two-story structure, was engulfed in flames that curled skyward, casting ominous shadows against the gray winter sky. Firefighters, clad in protective gear, moved with practiced urgency towards the blaze. Inside, the inferno's heat was intense, pressing against their suits like a living entity intent on keeping its secrets hidden. Visibility was minimal. Smoke coiled through the rooms, thick and heavy. As they searched for survivors, their oxygen masks muffled the crackling fire and their own labored breathing. It was here, in this perilous environment, that they stumbled upon Ethan Turner, emaciated and frail, a ghost of a man lying amidst the chaos. His discovery was both a rescue and a revelation. At 5'9" but weighing only 68 pounds, Ethan's condition told a tale of severe neglect. His eyes, sunken but alert with desperation, met those of his rescuers as they pulled him from the smoldering wreckage. The urgency of his situation propelled them to rush him to Waterbury General Hospital, igniting an investigation as intense as the fire itself. At the hospital, Ethan was stabilized but remained physically weak. His voice barely a whisper against the din of medical machinery, he struggled to articulate his past, a past dominated by Veronica Graves, his stepmother. Fragmented recollections spilled forth. Years spent in captivity under her oppressive control, starvation as a constant companion. The narrative he painted was harrowing, yet incomplete. Every word seemed to cost him an effort he scarcely had. Detectives listened intently, their minds racing with questions. Ethan's mention of starting the fire as a desperate bid for freedom added layers to his story that begged exploration. Despite his frailty, there was clarity in his claim, a flickering light in a dark history that demanded verification. With Ethan's initial statements fueling their drive, detectives returned to Blake Street to unearth evidence amidst the ruins. The scene was chaotic. Burnt remnants lay strewn about like fragments of forgotten lives. As they sifted through the debris, signs began to emerge. Doors that bore marks of forced improvisation suggested confinement far beyond ordinary privacy. These discoveries aligned with Ethan's account, but were far from conclusive. Still, they provided enough impetus for further scrutiny into Veronica Graves' life and character. Evidence collected amidst soot and ash was bagged meticulously for analysis, each piece a potential puzzle part in understanding Ethan's plight. As investigators pondered over these leads, one question loomed large. How had such cruelty persisted unnoticed? The answer lay somewhere within those charred walls, or perhaps within Veronica herself, a woman now under suspicion, yet maintaining her innocence with calculated poise. The team left Blake Street with more questions than answers, but determined to unravel this mystery piece by piece. As they reviewed their findings late into the night, one chilling thought echoed through their minds. What other secrets did this quiet street still hold? Back at Waterbury General Hospital, Ethan lay in his bed under dimmed lights, his future uncertain but hopeful. His escape had been perilous, his survival thus far miraculous. As he drifted into a fitful sleep, filled with nightmares and hopes intermingled, he knew one thing. The fire might have been extinguished, but its embers still glowed brightly in pursuit of justice. Just then, an unexpected visitor arrived at the hospital, someone claiming to know about Ethan's past and Veronica's hidden life. This new arrival could either be a savior or another pawn in this twisted game, a revelation waiting just beyond the threshold. As the unexpected visitor lingered at the hospital entrance, detectives were already deep in conversation with Ethan Turner in a sterile hospital interrogation room. The air was thick with tension, magnified by the steady beeping of monitors that underscored Ethan's fragility. His voice, though soft and halting, carried the weight of years spent in darkness. "There was a closet," Ethan began, his gaze distant. "A hidden compartment behind my room's wall. She'd lock me there for days, weeks sometimes." His words faltered as memories threatened to overwhelm him. Detective Laura Mitchell leaned forward, her demeanor both gentle and resolute. "Take your time, Ethan," she urged quietly. "Every detail helps." Ethan nodded, drawing a shaky breath. "Veronica? She controlled everything. Even when I begged for food, it was like she enjoyed having that power over me. Tears welled up in Ethan's eyes, his trauma surfacing like a tide, threatening to drown him anew. The detectives exchanged glances, aware of the delicate balance between pushing for information and respecting his emotional state. Their immediate goal clear: they needed tangible evidence to back Ethan's account of this hidden compartment. As they left the hospital, their minds were set on corroborating his harrowing tale. Back at the Waterbury Police Department, Veronica Graves sat across from them, her demeanor cold and defiant. "This is all a misunderstanding," she insisted, her voice laced with indignation. "Ethan was never confined. We valued our privacy as a family, nothing more." Her denial only added to the tension in the room. But as Veronica was processed for arrest, a discovery shifted the balance: meticulous journals found among her possessions. Flipping through them revealed coded entries that hinted at controlling behaviors and psychological manipulation masked as family stewardship. Detective Mitchell felt a surge of determination as she examined these journals back in the evidence room. The entries were cryptic, requiring patience and sharp eyes to decode their meaning. "These aren't just diaries," she murmured to her partner, Detective Harris. "They're records of control, calculated and chilling." Patterns emerged, suggesting past abuse that corroborated Ethan's story. The detectives faced a new challenge: piecing together Veronica's mental landscape from these fragments of written thought. Each entry peeled back another layer of her persona, a woman who cloaked her true nature behind the guise of familial care. As they worked through the journals late into the night, another discovery was made. References to incidents that aligned disturbingly with Ethan's claims surfaced repeatedly among the entries. It was enough to send shivers down their spines, enough to warrant further investigation into Veronica's past interactions. These revelations propelled Detective Mitchell and Harris toward their next logical step: finding past neighbors who might offer additional insights into Veronica's life and behavior over the years. Just as this plan solidified, Detective Mitchell received an urgent call. The unexpected visitor at the hospital had left behind a note with details about another potential victim connected to Veronica, a child who had disappeared years before under mysterious circumstances. As Mitchell hung up the phone, the gravity of this new lead hit her. A terrifying possibility that Ethan might not have been Veronica's only victim loomed large in her mind. This new thread dangled enticingly in front of them, a cliffhanger leading only deeper into darkness. Detective Laura Mitchell could hardly shake the feeling of unease as she left the hospital, the note left by the mysterious visitor still clutched in her hand. The revelation that Ethan might not have been Veronica's only victim loomed large. Determined to uncover the truth, she and Detective Harris set out to gather background information from neighbors. They approached the first house on Blake Street. The neighborhood seemed frozen in time, its residents wary and withdrawn. As they knocked on doors, their inquiries were met with hesitance. Veronica's polite yet distant demeanor had apparently convinced many over the years that nothing amiss occurred inside her home. One neighbor, Mrs. Clark, finally admitted, after some persuasion, that she occasionally heard unusual noises at odd hours, thumps and muffled cries, but dismissed them as typical family squabbles. "Veronica always assured us Ethan was just a troubled teenager acting out," she said hesitantly, casting furtive glances down the street. Encouraged by these insights, Mitchell and Harris pressed for more details that could provide substantial leads. Their next stop was the Waterbury Police Archives, a labyrinthine repository of past reports and records. The detectives hoped to find documented evidence of disturbances at the Turner Graves household. Yet, what they encountered was a frustrating array of incomplete files, some appearing deliberately overlooked. Among these disjointed records, a past domestic dispute report caught their attention. It involved a family member whose whereabouts were now unknown, an ominous marker of Veronica's long-term control tactics. The discovery suggested a pattern of manipulation and abuse stretching back years. "This can't be a coincidence," Harris remarked, his voice echoing in the dimly lit archive room. We need to find out who else might have been under her thumb. With this new lead in hand, their search expanded to include other family members and acquaintances linked to Veronica. Feeling the weight of their discoveries pressing upon them, Mitchell arranged to meet with a former friend of Veronica's at a small diner on Main Street. The friend's eyes reflected a conflicted mix of nostalgia and regret as she recounted her history with Veronica. She was always intense, the woman recalled over coffee cups between them. Everything had to be just right, her way or no way at all. I cut ties when it became too much. The friend hesitated, but then shared something crucial. Whispers of a financial motive tied to Ethan's inheritance, a potential reason for Veronica's controlling behavior. This revelation opened new investigative angles, focusing on monetary transactions and Veronica's financial history. As Mitchell digested this information, her mind raced with possibilities about how deep Veronica's manipulations might have run. But before they could delve further into these angles, her phone buzzed with an urgent message. A new piece of evidence had surfaced, an old bank statement linking Veronica to suspicious withdrawals from an account believed to belong to Ethan's late father. This connection hinted at financial exploitation that could tie everything together. Rushing back to headquarters with this revelation still fresh in her mind, Mitchell couldn't shake off the feeling that they were only scratching the surface of something far more sinister. As she walked into the precinct's bustling main room, Harris approached with another update. Veronica had requested another meeting. Apparently, he said grimly, she claims she has information that could change everything. Mitchell felt her pulse quicken at this unexpected twist. A potential confession or yet another layer of deception waiting to unravel? As they prepared for this crucial encounter, one question dominated their thoughts. What truths lay behind Veronica's unyielding facade? Detective Laura Mitchell felt a rush of adrenaline as she prepared for the press conference at the Waterbury Police Department. Veronica's request for another meeting had been left hanging, but now they needed to address the surging public interest sparked by this case. The conference room buzzed with media anticipation, cameras poised to capture every word. "Thank you all for coming," Mitchell began, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. "We are here to provide updates on the ongoing investigation into the Turner Graves case." The audience leaned forward, eager for details. Mitchell outlined the known facts: Ethan's captivity, Veronica's arrest, and the search for other potential victims. "We urge anyone with information to come forward," she added, emphasizing their reliance on public tips to uncover further truths. As Mitchell concluded, questions erupted from reporters. "What about Veronica's claims of innocence?" one asked. "Is there any truth to them?" Another demanded to know how such abuse went unnoticed for years. Mitchell paused before responding, choosing her words carefully. "Our findings strongly contradict those claims," she stated firmly, allowing the weight of her words to sink in. The public now had a clearer image of Ethan's suffering, contrasting sharply with Veronica's previously benign reputation. The conference ended, but its impact was immediate. Tips flooded in, overwhelming the station with whispers of past encounters and sightings. Detectives Mitchell and Harris were tasked with sifting through this influx, an arduous task given the mix of genuine leads and wild speculation. In the tip line center, Harris sighed as he hung up another call. "Most of these tips are dead ends," he muttered in frustration, "but there's a recurring mention of an accomplice, someone seen with Veronica frequently." This detail piqued Mitchell's interest. It was a thread worth pulling. They focused on these consistent reports, mapping out potential sightings that placed Veronica alongside an unknown figure at local spots around town. The descriptions varied, but shared enough similarities to warrant further investigation. With this new lead, they moved to a local business equipped with CCTV cameras, a cafe mentioned in several tips. The footage was grainy and stretched across months, making their task dauntingly complex. But persistence paid off. In one clip, Veronica appeared outside the cafe, engaged in animated conversation with a man whose features matched those described by tipsters. Though indistinct, his presence alongside her suggested a deeper involvement. This could be our accomplice, Harris said, studying the footage intently. We need to identify him. They decided to trace their steps backward, questioning cafe staff and patrons who might recognize this individual. As they left the CCTV analysis room, Mitchell's phone buzzed once more. A message from headquarters about Veronica's awaited meeting request. But more pressing was their new plan, finding this mysterious man and unraveling his connection to Veronica. The tension escalated as they prepared for their next move. Could this lead uncover another layer of deception in Veronica's life? Just then, a call came through from one of their contacts in town. A woman claiming she recognized the man from a local housing project known for its transient population. She offered to meet them there immediately. As Mitchell relayed this information to Harris, they understood the urgency. Each moment brought them closer to unveiling another piece of Ethan's tragic story, or perhaps encountering danger lurking unseen. Racing against time and uncertainty, they headed towards what could be a pivotal breakthrough or an ominous trap set by those seeking to silence Ethan's truth forever. Detective Laura Mitchell and her partner, Detective Harris, arrived at the prosecutor's office with mounting anticipation. The urgency from the previous night's lead still buzzed in their minds. They needed to prepare for the trial against Veronica Graves, a case that had gripped Waterbury in its chilling complexity. The prosecutor's office was a hive of activity, papers shuffling, and voices murmuring strategies as they gathered evidence and witnesses. The legal defenses posed a formidable challenge, aiming to discredit Ethan Turner and the police findings. Veronica's attorney was relentless, painting Ethan's narrative as a delusion born from trauma. Yet, amidst this tension, a breakthrough emerged. Additional financial records surfaced, linking Veronica directly to fraudulent activities involving Ethan's inheritance money. These records were crucial. They solidified the prosecution's narrative of greed and control as Veronica's motive. With this potent evidence strengthening their case, the team moved with renewed determination into the trial phase at the Waterbury courthouse. The courtroom was tense, buzzing with anticipation as witnesses took the stand. Ethan's frailty was apparent as he entered the courthouse, his past weighing heavily on his slender frame. The defense attorneys were aggressive, challenging each witness with precision, focusing particularly on discrediting Ethan's testimony due to perceived inconsistencies attributed to his trauma. Yet, the prosecution held an ace, a poignant video testimony from Ethan himself. Recorded during his most lucid moments in recovery, it painted an undeniable picture of horror and endurance. As the video played, the courtroom fell silent. Ethan's voice echoed with raw emotion. His recounting of captivity under Veronica's oppressive control was chillingly vivid, his eyes reflecting years of suffering, yet unyielding resilience. This testimony swayed public sentiment significantly towards guilt. The emotional weight of Ethan's words set a somber tone for the closing arguments. The prosecution emphasized the unshakable physical evidence, the journals detailing Veronica's manipulations, the financial records underscoring her motive, and Ethan's unwavering courage to tell his truth despite unimaginable suffering. The defense attempted to weave doubt by suggesting alternate narratives and misinterpretations of Veronica's actions, but their efforts faltered against the sheer gravity of evidence and emotional testimonies presented. As the jury deliberated, tension hung thickly in the courtroom air. It was an agonizing weight that felt suspended in time until finally they returned with a verdict: guilty on all counts. Veronica Graves was led away in silence, her once meticulously constructed facade crumbling under the weight of justice served. The courtroom exhaled collectively, a palpable relief mingled with lingering sadness for what could never be undone. As Detective Mitchell stepped outside into the crisp evening air, she felt a mix of triumph and melancholy. Justice had been served for Ethan Turner and possibly others silenced by fear. Yet one question lingered ominously on her mind. How many more like him remained hidden in shadows? This case had revealed more than just a single story of captivity. It had unveiled societal blind spots and ignited a call for vigilance against hidden abuses cloaked in silence. As Mitchell joined Harris in their car to head back to headquarters, she knew this victory was just a beginning, a reminder that darkness could exist even behind familiar faces.